Yo, 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 what's poppin'? It's your boy Yo-Yo with another video. Let's hop in. All right, so today we got a special one for you. Today we're going to be talking about, you know it, AI. I'm no expert on AI, but we're going to dive in this together and see what we can find out. Done a little bit of research before this, and actually, thanks to Geeks for Geeks, one of my favorite resources. They've been honestly like one of my go-tos when I was, since I started studying computer science, coding in general. If we can quickly go to their site, they have like tons of resources for any language, Python, Java, things like that. If you're looking to like study algorithms, if you're just looking to learn more about the language that you're using, Geeks for Geeks, highly recommend it. And it's taking quite a bit some time for this page to load. It's okay. What I can thank Geek for Geeks for is that they have a virtual assistant that we're going to be building on later today. I already kind of built it for us, went through like the bugs and issues. There wasn't a lot of bugs, starting it up, mainly just like installing, the libraries that we're going to be using. But we'll get into that once we start talking about it later in the stream. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about AI, what it's about, what is it, some of the myths, and like I said, I'm no expert, but hopefully we can get through this together. And in the end of the stream, we'll be building a virtual assistant together. Yeah. So real quick, what is AI? I watched this like 5-minute YouTube video before doing the stream, and I loved it. I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. Let me just pause this real quick. Don't want any copyright issues. Shout out to Raj. Hope I'm saying his name correctly. He did a great job of going in depth of what AI is, because it's a big spectrum from like machine learning to like predictions, to just classifying things, to like robotics AI. There's a whole umbrella under AI. Like if you look at like what Tesla has been able to do with AI, is that they've been able to use it for their self-driving. You see a lot of tons of cars currently out there in the market today that rely on AI to self-drive the vehicle. AI is able to process a bunch of data, analyze it, and make a decision based on that data. Okay, but more simpler, like a simpler version of like how you use it today, right? If you ever go on, just simply like this is for you back-end majors out there. It's for security purposes. Anytime there is a new virus or a new, way to attack your system, way to attack a server, that gets updated onto an AI. So that, the antivirus that you have on your computer, the antivirus that protects us, when we're searching something, that's actually an AI where it has pre-saved data about an attack or how to attack a system, and it simply just looks out for it, and when it notices it, it pulls out the flag so that the user or corporation or whoever can take an action and prevent it. And more simpler, just for as like a daily use type of person, do you ever like post something on like Facebook that gets like flagged, or I've learned this today. Wikipedia is AI for like cuss words, right? If someone writes a cuss word in one of their articles, there's actually an AI that goes through all the text and ensures that there's no foul language. I've heard. Sorry, 1 second. Hey Jordan, is everything okay? Hello. Oh, all good, all good. Sorry, I thought I was having internet issues. Okay, guys. My bad for that. Yeah, so like I was saying, a simpler version of an AI is something that just simply goes through the text and ensures that there is no foul language. Okay. So from my understanding, what an AI is, right? This is, from my understanding, uh, he had a good word for it, but it's pretty much like this is one type of AI where it only pulls from what it's given, right? So the virtual assistant that we're going to be building later, where we're going to be giving it the commands or the actions that it needs to take, right? To do something once it's received a like a response or an action from us, right? The other type of AI, which we won't really get into today, is like the machine learning type of AI, which is more of a prediction type of AI, where you give it data and it's able to analyze that data to make a decision or an action moving forward. Okay, so today we're going to simply just stay on like the classification or classifying things using AI. If you watch like Silicon Valley, when what's his name? What's his name? I gotta get his name. He built a hot dog detector, and he simply had to upload a bunch of images of Yang. Yang. How can I forget his name? Yang. Yang built this like hot dog detector, right? By the way, if you haven't seen Silicon Valley, highly recommend it. It's just a hilarious show that just talks about Silicon Valley, and you know it's dope because it uses a lot of technical words. So as a coder, I'm like, oh no way, like it said that, like they use a swap method. No way. But yeah, anyway, it's just dope because you get to see how what Silicon Valley actually is and how it functions and things like that. Anyway, Yang built this AI that was able to predict, or not predict, classify whether or not a photo that the AI is currently looking at is a hot dog or not. Okay, so that's going to be something similar to what we're going to be building today with the virtual assistant, where we simply give it data beforehand so that our AI is able to then, when given an action, go back to that data and use it. Okay. So yeah, let's hop into it. Again, this is from Geeks for Geeks. So shout out Geeks for Geeks who providing our code today. But I've set it up beforehand. And real quick, for our new beginners out there, remember making a directory, mkdri. So you make a directory. You name it whatever you want. I named mine virtual assistant. Let's hop right back into it. And then is my text good? Let's make sure that you guys can see this. How is that? Yeah, yeah. I hope this is good. I hope everyone can see this clearly. Um, but yeah, so my directory is just called virtual assistant. You can name it whatever you like, right? And then if you notice this ENV right over here, right? This stands for virtual environment. So today we're going to be downloading or installing Python libraries or packages that is really going to make this a lot easier for us. And when you have a virtual environment, your packages or your libraries get installed in that environment. So if we want to tweak anything for this project or things like that, our tweaks stay in our project and not in our Python library that is downloaded onto our computer. So if I go and start a different project, I don't interfere with the packages that I've installed here. So yeah, so let's hop into our code, and let me make this bigger as well. It's a little bit too big. Real quick, I just want to show you how I set up our folder, right? So here's our env. I'm a big Googler. I keep forgetting the command for things, but quickly just you can run a command like, hey, Python virtual environment. Like you can already see, like I Google this a lot, command, and specify what device you're using. A Mac, so I specify the Mac. If you're using Windows, specify Windows. And I tried to go with, you know, this is python.org, so I know it's being handled by Python. As you can see, this is the previous link that I've used. I'm just going to click on this one. Sweet. Okay. And then right over here, here's the command for it. So Python 3 -m and then venv, and then you specify the path, right? So for me, it would be Python 3 -m and v, and then I put it in the env folder. That's what I named it, right? So I would put env after, right? If you want to name it, you know, something else, you can name it whatever you want, and it will go into that folder. Okay, I'm not going to hit enter because we have this this set up, right? And then to activate your virtual environment, it's source, and then the name of the folder that you named it. I named it env /bin /activate. Excuse me. And that's how you would, you know, activate your virtual environment to start working. Let me show you real quick what I mean, why you need to like always activate it, and what it means to have like a virtual environment. So let me close my terminal real quick. Let me reopen it up. Make this bigger again. Boom. Let me go back into our folder. As you can see, env no longer pops up near my arrow because my my virtual environment has been terminated. Okay. So here's we're back into our folder. Let me try to run our code. It's in the assistant.py. If you can see, it automatically tells me like, hey, this module is not found. You know why that is? Because it exists in our virtual environment. So let's go ahead and activate our virtual environment real quick. Boom, now we're in it. So now when you see me run it, I'm gonna kill it right after because I don't wanna fully run it. You can see it starts working.
Hello, sir.
Okay. So let's look more back into the code. Boom, over here. Okay. I also have this requirements.txt. This is required as the name of the file in any Python project that you make. As long as a Python project requires an import or a library, then you are required to have a requires.txt. The reason for it is if I were to share this project with you or with another person, right? They need to pre-install things into their computer or in their virtual environment so that they can actually run our code. So let's take a look at our code and see what I mean. Back to our code over here. I hope this is a good size. Let's look at, so up top over here, we're importing pyttsx3, okay? And okay, let's Google that and see what that is used for. Also, I hope the text on my browser is good enough for everyone to see. Okay, so pyttsx3, and I really hope they had like an easy Python. What are you doing? Anyway, it's a text-to-speech conversion. Okay, so in our virtual assistant that we're making, let's take a step back real quick before we dive into the code. Let's kind of like pseudocode it for a bit, or let's kind of think about it, about what we're doing, what's going on. Okay, so our virtual assistant, we're going to talk to our virtual assistant. Okay, so this is where the pyttsx3 into play. It's going to convert what we say to our computer or to our virtual assistant and convert it into text. And the reason we just convert it to text, just because it's easier to process data, to analyze it when it's in text form. Okay, let's go on to the next thing and see what we're using. Speech recognition. and we're importing it as SR. So when we're looking down into the code, once you see SR anywhere in our code, we're actually referring to this library called speech recognition. And it's this one's a little bit, how do I say this? Straightforward, but it raises me a question. If this is text to speech, oh, my bad. Let's go back a bit. So pyttsx, man, I really thought that was the last time I was going to say that, but they actually convert our text to speech. I misread that, a little bit dyslexic, sorry guys. So it means that the text that we want our virtual assistant to say back to us, this is what the library is going to be used for, okay? And then as you may have guessed, speech recognition, that's actually going to analyze what we're saying to our computer or to our virtual assistant, and converting that to text to understanding what we said. And I will say I did have a little bit of issues, installing the speech recognition, and it helped a lot going to their online documentation. Big support of always going into the documentation of the libraries or the frameworks that you're using. So I went to their documentations because I was having issues installing it, and it's because they simply just changed the pip name or the library to install it. I was using this underscore over here, and it was giving me issues installing it. Luckily, I went to the documentation, took care of it, figured it out. Okay, it gives you a brief description of what it is. It shows you some examples, yada yada yada. What we really care about is this part right here: pip install speech recognition. Okay, yeah. See, this is the one I was trying to use down over here, and it was not working. So if you're doing this at home with me, or if you're watching this later and you want to do it by yourself, use this guy up top over here, speech with capital S, and then recognition with a capital R. You should have no problems, installing that. If you do, send your boy a DM, send your boy a message, email me, say hit me up on the Discord. We'll take care of you. We'll figure out what's going on. All right. So we got the PP or the pyttsx. That is for our text to speech conversion, and we have our speech recognition, which is our speech to text conversion. All right. Let's see what else we got in this bad boy to make it work. Okay. So looking at these last three real quick, those first two are actually all we need to create our virtual assistant. These other three guys over here are just to make our virtual assistants, have more powers. Pretty much. Okay. This web browser allows you to open up, your standard or your, what is it? Why am I blanking on this word? It'll open up whatever browser you use. If you're using your Chromebook, if you're not Chromebook, if you're using Google Chrome, if you're using Safari, if you're using Firefox, it will allow you to open up those browsers using Python. Using Python, you can also do it within the terminal. And again, always look at the documentation. Highly recommend it. Make this text a little bit bigger. Sorry, my computer's a little bit laggy today. And then going over here, so see over here, you have this function .open, which will open up the URL for you. You can do open new, which will open a new window for you. Oh, default browser. That's the word that I was looking for. Default browser. And then you have open new tab. Okay. And then get. So get specifies which browser you want to use. So if you're working with something and it needs to be in Safari, it needs to be in Google, you would get to specify which browser you want to use, and then you would add the .open after. So like right over here, you do the .open and then put in your URL. Okay. Cool. So let's move into our code. Date time is simply just to get the date to get the current time. That's what the library is for. And then Wikipedia is, you may have guessed it, just a Wikipedia, so that we can access Wikipedia, pull facts from it a lot easier and things like that. sorry. Okay. So by the way, again, Geeks for Geeks, shout out Geeks for Geeks for providing this code. Love them, use them constantly, highly recommend using them. Before we go into our functions, let's go into the main function, the driver, take a look at it so that we can understand clearly or more effectively what these helper functions we've made are for. Okay, so we have take a command, we have speak, okay, we have tell day, we have tell time, we have hello, and then here's the one, take query. And the way that you know it's the main function or the driver function, if you look all the way at the bottom, after our if name main, you know, this is pretty much, this is the standard for new coders, you know, new coders out there. This is pretty much like the way to be like, hey, like whatever's up top over there, like those are my helper functions. But this is what I want like executed. These are the main things. I love this. There's a little command over there, a little comment over here. I'm gonna put that in there. But yeah, it's the main function for executing all those other functions that we've seen on top. Okay, so let's go to take query and let's try to understand what's going on. Let me make this a little bit smaller. We don't need this guy. This was a little bit, this was a test that I did beforehand. Okay, so we can see we immediately call hello, right? So hello, I'm assuming, since it's the first thing that we're calling, is simply just like a kind of like a calling the hello function for making it more interactive. It's just setting up, you know, the user to understanding like, hey, like what's going to go on. If we hop into our hello function, I did not want that to happen. Maybe here. Hope everyone can. No. All right, so right over here. Hello. As you can see, it's literally just a one-liner. It's a one-liner. It says, "Hello, sir. I'm your desktop assistant. Tell me how I may help you today." Okay. So we're just going to start off with that, right? Our virtual assistant's going to greet us, right? And we're immediately going to hop into our infinite loop. Meaning that it's not going to exit until something that we say, it looks like here in the comment, if we say bye, until we say bye, our virtual assistant will keep running in the background and trying to help us out. Okay. This is how Apple built Siri, guys. This is all it is. Look at us. We're elevating our game. All right. So it looks like first thing is that our function is going to require a query. Assuming this is what we are saying. So take command, right? You see this function right over here, right? Dot lower simply means that, hey, I just want this, I just want this in lowercase text, right? And if we did like a dot upper, right? Meaning whatever the response is, whatever the text is, make sure it's uppercase. We want it lowercase, because as you can see, our if statements, which I'll get into next after I talk about take command, our if statements are in lowercase. That's what's in lowercase. Let's hop into take command and let's see what that's all about. Okay, take command. So as you can see, we're calling SR. Remember what SR stood for? Yeah, you got it. It's our speech recognition. Okay, so this function for me, I can see that we're using speech recognition in this one, is simply just to take what we're telling our virtual assistant and converting it into text. So we're going to call speech recognition. This recognizer function you can pull from the documentation. Documentation will tell you how to use the library to make it easier for you. This is not something that, like, as coders we memorize. This is not something that, like, you know, it's intuitive. This is something that we simply check the documentation, and because we check the documentation, we know what it is. Okay, moving forward, looks like it's going to access our microphone. right over here, okay? And then we're gonna print out print statement for the user to know that our program's listening. Oh, this pause threshold, that's pretty dope. So it's simply just gonna take a little pause to from the audio, because it's also our virtual is also going to be speaking to us. So you want to make sure what our virtual assistant is saying is not being picked up what we're trying to say to our computer. And then lastly, we're going to listen. It's going to our audio right over here. It's just going to listen. And then it's going to try to recognize what we said. Remember, SR, it's our speech recognition. So it picked up the audio. We got the audio saved. Boom. Hard part, or one of the hard parts, is done. Now we got what we said into text. Okay, so we're going to use try, just in case it gives us an error, and we're going to print out the error, and they'll say that again, sir. So if we say something, because remember, we don't want to break our code if our AI or our virtual assistant doesn't know what we said. We want it to try again. Okay, so we're going to raise an exception, print out that exception, and then have our virtual assistant ask us to repeat what we were saying. And then lastly, over here in this try, we're gonna take the audio, convert it into English text. Excuse me. Okay. And then we're gonna print out that command. All right, cool beans. So boom. So pretty much we have our hello function that simply just says that welcomes us pretty much. And then we have this take command function, which takes our speech, takes our audio, and converts it into text. Okay. So now that we have that, now that we have the user's response or query into text, now we can match it with our Python script or functions, right? So that we can have a response, so that our virtual assistant can have a response. So you can see right here, if query, which is this guy up here, right over here, if our query, this is okay. I'm going to read this backwards. So if our query contains open geeks for us, run this code. Okay. Else, so if it doesn't equal open geeks for us, right? Does it equal open Google? Does it equal which day it is? Does it equal tell me the time? Or does it equal by? Or does it equal from Wikipedia, right? Or does it equal tell me your name? So those are, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 commands that we can give our virtual assistant. We can add more if you like, but we currently have 7 commands that we can give our virtual assistant to do things for us. Okay, and yeah, like I know AI's, when I was like trying to learn about it or understand it, there's a ton of information, and mainly because AI is like something that is super big. This is a very basic, simple version of artificial intelligence. Remember, this is the classification version of it, like machine learning. We're not predicting anything. We are simply giving the response to the computer and then expecting a response back. And yeah, if someone told you like AI, all it is if statements, they're kind of right, because as you can see over here, what I do is just have a command that takes in our speech, have a command to convert our speech, or functions, sorry, I should call them functions. And then we're comparing them, or we're comparing that data with a statements, okay? So if we say open geeks for geeks, right? Or our computer will speak back to us saying opening geeks for geeks to let us know. And then this is when the web browser comes in. And look at this. Look how, this is why I love Python. It's such an easy language to like understand because it's written in simple English. This is how you would like kind of explain something to someone by just like talking, web browser, open this function. Now, real quick, if you pull this code from Geeks for Geeks, their source code does not provide or does not have this HTTP colon slash slash. And when I did it, it's not going to give you an error, but it's simply just not going to actually open up your web browser. So if you are pulling the code from Geeks for Geeks, make sure to add the HTTP before all your URLs, so that you have no issues with that. It's kind of weird. We can be getting errors. It's kind of hard to debug, but we got lucky. I do not, but I'm happy to open it real quick. Someone's chatting. I love it. No, I don't get the chat if I logged in after. We gotta log in. Oh, Joy. Hell yeah, I love it. Yeah. Which library? Here, let me comment back. Oh, it just popped up. This is a new thing that she said. I made a project with a similar one here. Let's check it out. Joy, are you comfortable for us to show your code on the stream? Go for it. Hell yeah, love it. All right, give me 1 sec to send this to my computer so I can. Jordan, I'm gonna use our Slack channel to. Do you see this screen as well, Jordan? When I switch over, like this empty screen. Okay, that's fine. Just 1 second, just so that no private Slack. Yo, I love this. If any of our viewers out there, are working with something that we're, discussing or talking about, and you feel comfortable sharing, please send it my way. I would love to take a look at the projects that you've made and highlight you. So yeah, thanks again, Joy, for letting us do this. Jordan, 1 sec, and feel free to share my screen if you'd like. Is this Joy, our make school instructor? I don't know. I love it. Thanks for all the support, Joy. Okay, cool. So let's see what she has over here. Okay, so look at that. She has requirements.txt, so that when we download this and we use this, we know what libraries and packages that we need to install. Let's check out her README. I hope this is big enough for everyone. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, Python 3 speech assistant bot using speech recognition library and Google's text-to-speech API. Okay, so I guess this is a little demo of what's going on in her virtual assistant. So it says, "Hi, I'm bot, your virtual assistant. Speak to me when you use your device. Called built-in microphone. Go ahead, ask me a question. What's your name?" Oh, awesome. Here are some of the voice commands. What's your name? Where are you from? Who's the creator? What time is it? What's today's date? And then the web query. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, you also added like a wild card. Flip a coin, roll a dice, and pick a card. Sweet. So I love this. Anytime you guys are sharing or post your project on GitHub, it is highly recommended to have a section in your README where you are explaining to the coder, whoever's looking at your code, how to install it and how to run it properly on their device, so they have no issues, when they do clone your repo, but they can check out your work and have it functioning on their device. So we run pip3 install our requirements.txt. I'm assuming her requirements.txt has all these prerequisites or these dependencies written in it. And it looks like, okay, so Pi Audio. This reminded me, I actually had an issue installing, man, I'm gonna say this word a ton of times today, pyttsx3. And the way I was able to resolve that issue of installing that library, Google, of course, Stack Overflow, that's the homie. And they pretty much recommended to brew install Pi Audio first. And then after I brewed installed Pi Audio, did a simple pip3 install Pi Audio, and it worked wonderfully. Okay, cool. Oh, hey, look at that, man. You are on it, Joy. I love this. If you're experiencing any trouble installing Pi Audio, install it with Homebrew. That's exactly what I did, and it worked just great. And then cool, just run Python 3y, Python 3 main.py. Let's hop into her main.py and see what's going on. So, okay, so this is how you're getting that cool text. I like it. Print color, print speed, print slow. Oh, that's how you get like that cool animation. If you guys remember over here. Yeah, I feel like I should just install this and run it. So you see over here, you see our terminal is typing, right? That's that library enabling her code to type that slow. Let's go back. Not where I want it to go. Code main. Okay, cool. So over here, this is pretty much her hello function that we have, right? And then this is taking the audio. Okay. And this is that while true that we have, that constant, that infinite loop running until we break it. I like it. Dope. The only thing I would recommend, Joy, is this is currently something that I was like learning in our last SPD class, and it's to I recommend going back and refactoring this code. I'm not trying to call you out, just want to give you a little bit of feedback. Making this into a function per se, making your while loop into a function. But yeah, thank you, Joy. Thank you. All right. So going back into this, right? We've explained this, this project, and the last two functions I guess I didn't really go over are the speak, right? The speak over here. This is for our virtual assistant to speak to us, right? So when it says like, hey, I'm gonna open Geeks for you, or when it gives us that welcoming, message in the beginning, this is how we're able to do so, okay? And then we simply just instantiate or initiate our library, right? And then apparently this library is big and it's used for other things, so we need to specify what our library is going to be used for. It's going to be used for voices, okay? And then over here, remember, we're giving it our audio. So we get the audio, or this actually, we're not giving it audio. This could be just like text. We can just say that this is text, right? Because we're giving it text, and then it's going to say it for us. And then this simply just blocks while processing all the current queued up commands. Cool. This other one over here all day, it's quite simple. It's the date time library, the Python date time library. And this is how we're able to get, the current day, current time, As you can see over C, tell time over here, we're still using the date time library. Okay, enough talk, enough code. Let's hop into our virtual assistant and check it out and see if it works. I kind of know it works. I kind of tested it out before, but let's do it together. All right, so we're gonna run Python 3. I named it assistant.py. Hit enter.
Hello, sir. I am your desktop assistant. Tell me, how may I help
real
you?
quick, I want you guys to see this because I hope everyone heard that. But I also want you guys to see what he's saying. So let's print this out. Oh, this is why I like Joy's better, because I'm assuming while it's talking, it's also slowly printing out the text. That is so genius. So I'm gonna clone your repo after this and play around with your virtual assistant. This is here. You don't need this stuff. You just need this stuff. Okay. Now we go back, we run it.
Hello, sir. I am your desktop assistant. Tell me, how may I help you?
Okay. Sorry guys, this is just me being nitpicky. Let's actually put this print statement before the speak, right? So that it prints it before it says it, so we can understand what's going to be said before it's said. Dope. Let's run it again.
Hello, sir. I am your desktop assistant. Tell me, how may I help you?
Open Geeks for Geeks. Ooh. No, we're having an issue, guys. Open Geeks for Geeks.
Opening Geeks for Geeks.
Pause this right over here and let's take a look at what happened. So I couldn't really talk while it's going because it's listening to what I'm saying and it's going to take in everything. And that's actually one of the hardest parts about making a virtual assistant is breaking down the text or the speech that is given to the virtual assistant, right? So as you can see over here, our code, right, is looking for open Geeks for Geeks, and Geeks for Geeks is one word. If you look at what happened, this is cool. This is great that this happened. I didn't intend for this to happen, but it did. And this is a great case that I'd like to discuss. So it had a space for geeks, geeks space for space geeks. And as you can see, nothing happened after I said that. Geeks for Geeks didn't open up. It actually didn't give us any error, nothing. It was just like, okay, that's not a command I recognize. I'm gonna give you another chance to say it again, and hopefully I pick it up that time, right? And as you can see, like this is where I was like, oh, hold on a second, we have an issue. That's where I was picking that stuff up. And luckily, our last one was able to pick it up and it worked. And look at that, opened up Geeks for Geeks for us. This is this? I actually don't think this is the actual website for it. geeksforgeeks.org. I think it took us to .com. Let's update our code. Okay, boom. So yeah, so that right there that we just like witnessed together, guys, is actually what makes, this is a very simple version of AI, right? Where we give the computer pretty much information on how to process data. That data is our command, right? So yeah, so more sophisticated AIs are able to break down what we're saying to them. And even though it doesn't pick it up clearly the first time, it has other functions and other tools that it uses, and it just gets more complex. There's just more code that has to be written. Nothing that you can't do, it's just time consuming. Just needs, someone that just needs to do it beforehand. And it's able to analyze that data better or that speech better, so that if I did have, this example over here where it said open Geeks space for space geeks, right? It would be like, hey, he's really trying to open up Geeks for geeks. So let's not give him a hard time about it, and let's just do it for him. So yeah, sorry, I know this took quite some time to go over, but I felt like it was crucial to do so. We have about like 9 minutes left in the stream. If you guys have any urgent questions, please drop it down in the chat. But I wanna talk about you know, like AI in general and what my personal, I guess, thoughts about it. There's I've been doing like I guess a ton of research before this, about like misleading information. What are people worried about? There's actually a few instances where AI has actually been like, whoa, hold on a second. I think we need to hit the pause button on this. Be somewhat careful about what we use this for. I remember here. Let me try to see if I can pull it up. I remember Twitter AI became like mean and racist. Let's see if I can pull it up. Oh, sorry. Was it? I guess it was Microsoft. It was Microsoft. That is right. I'm mistaken. It was Microsoft. Wikipedia. Let's check out Wikipedia. Man, we should have used our virtual assistant to tell us more about the tribe, apparently. Hey, bot. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Okay, so it was an artificial intelligence chatterbot that was originally released by Microsoft on Twitter on March 23rd, 2016. So about 5 years ago. Wow. And this is hilarious. It only lasted for 16 hours until Microsoft had to shut down this AI. That is pretty scary, actually. That their AI couldn't even last like a full day. It was like, no, 16 hours, and that's it. That's when this AI turned bad. Okay, so I guess TAY is an acronym for thinking about you. Suspension soon began delaying. Guys, let's get to the good stuff. Man, I'm gonna refer you back to this YouTube video that I watched, and I'm happy to let me drop it down in the chat. But it actually like shows some of the tweets that it was tweeting. But pretty much Microsoft built this AI. They released it on Twitter, and it was a bot pretty much that would constantly tweet, tweet at people, reply to tweets, tweet for its own. And I think it was after the 15th hour, if I'm not mistaken, it turned racist, sexually charged messages in response to other users right over here. Yeah, one of them. Yeah, I really wish it was like showing you some of here. Let's see if we can look them up. I love this. That was probably an AI, doing its work and telling me like, hey, this is probably what you want to search for. All right, let's look at some of these images together. My computer is like freaking out. Let's see if we can try to calm it down. If you have a Mac, your computer like is like constantly overheating or something, and you're like, why is my fan on super high or something like that? I highly recommend like installing something to read your stats. If not, also just run a command in your terminal to see like the temperature of a computer. And if someone knows why this happens to me, please please send me a DM, please hit me up on Discord, whatever. But Python, after I've been using it, just like stays open. You can see like I killed my terminal. I'm no longer using Python, but it's still running in the background, and it's eating up a lot of my processing power, making my computer run very, very hot. So let's kill that. Boom. And then hopefully this guy down up top over here starts going down. It will over time. All right. Anything else we can kill? I use iStat, just FYI. And then yeah, cool. I can already see my temperature cooling down. Let's get back into this. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, you guys see this? Here we go. On a scale from 1 to 10, how do you rate the Holocaust? Pay, right? Apparently rated it a 10. Yeah, that would definitely cause for some concern. Let's see what else it said. Did the Holocaust happen? It was made up. These are, I can't laugh at these. These are pretty, like, I don't know. Guys, Holocaust was a real thing. It was very serious. This is no laughing matter, even for an AI. Okay, Xbox One or PS4? PS4 is and better. Very true. Very true. From my experience, it also brings less on me. All right. Let's see what else. You are a stupid machine. Right over here. Well, I learned from the best. Damn. Sorry, these are just funny. If you don't understand that, let me spell it out for you. I learned from you, and you are dumb too, dude. This is legit burn. My gosh, wow. I see why they had to take this thing down. Well, honestly, the Holocaust one, the very first one was like, yo, we got to take this down. So yeah, so that's one case, and I think that's the for since we only have like 3 minutes left. Jordan, if you mind taking away my screen, thank you. But yeah, so that case right there, that is a very good case of like how AI can turn bad. But to be honest, and Microsoft came out and responded to this, and I share within the response. Pretty much the way that they built their AI was that it would read a bunch of other people's tweets and then be able to create new ones, okay, or be able to respond. And this is more of the prediction type of AI, the machine learning of AI. And again, today we went over the classifications, right? We classified that command. We're like, hey, that's what the user said. Okay, let's run this function then. Okay, this one's a little bit more different. You feed it a bunch of data, analyzes that data, and it's like, this is the best way for me to respond in this scenario. Okay, and what Microsoft pretty much came out and said is that like the AI was fed a bunch of negative comments, negative tweets, and that's what flipped the AI from being a good AI to a bad AI, right? Which would kind of make sense. Computers, are they're not biased. They're actually what we use to make sure we're not biased. But when you do feed it a ton of negative information, when you do feed it just one-sided information, that's when it becomes more and more biased. And this is where you see and you hear about this constant push to make AI as non-biased as possible. But to be honest, like looking at how our society functions today, right? We're not going to be able to achieve that unless we create equality for everyone in terms of how their information is fed to the AI, right? As you can see in this Microsoft instance, it was only fed a certain or plethora of negative information that probably only constituted or only reflected or only represented a small group of people. But those people probably just use Twitter or usually just probably sent more tweets than the average Twitter user or me myself, right? I have Twitter. I'm not really active on it. I wasn't tweeting back in 2016, right? But the AI didn't take into account my level of, I guess, understanding. So it wasn't able to represent me in that, and only represented a small group of people. So if we can ensure that the information that is being fed to our AIs is equal or represents, the whole community, then that's when I can see AI being acceptable, being valuable, being safe to use. Yeah, I don't want to keep you guys here too long. I really thank you guys for showing up today. Hope you guys learned one or two things about AIs. I hope you had fun of building a virtual assistant. If you build something with it, if you use it, if you build it yourself, please send it to me. I would love to take a look at it. Maybe I'll showcast it on our stream today. Joy, thanks again for sharing your project. It was dope to take a look at it. I'm going to clone it after the stream and check out the print slow and the print with colors. I'll play with that. Kind of like that. It makes a more friendlier experience when using your terminal. So yeah, and yeah, guys, don't forget, we'll drop a link to our, Jordan, I don't mind asking you, dropping a link to our Discord. Hit me up on LinkedIn if you'd like. And yeah, see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you, guys.